Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, Seth Pako has just shared a statement, and this statement was concerning an attack.
Were planning to raid our hotel, and I went to social media and I said the police are planning to raid our hotel, and then I thought it was just a joke. So I said, I'm here, I'm taking something, waiting for the police, because I believe when the police come, they'll come and give you the charges, search warrants, or whatever they have, so that they can be able to access your premises. But the police did not show up. Around 8:30, I was inside the hotel, seated with my wife. And then I was informed that Levondo had arrived, and he wanted to see me. So I went out the door, and he called me. I've never sat with Levondo. I've never greeted him. I've never met him actually in my life. I just see him. I used to see him dishing money in choppers, but I've never been close to him. How he called out my name, and he told me, come. And I told him, I can't come. I'm in my home. That hotel is mine, so it's my home. So I retreated back to the hotel, and I told my assistants, tell Levondo to come in. And when they told him to come in, he refused. And he had actually doctored his number plates for the vehicles. He had put sellotape, the black one, so that if it's a T, it looks like a P. And my people told him, look at your vehicles. Why have the number plates been doctored? You know, they have been moving around with numberless vehicles, bribing people, threatening people, causing violence. I've reported this IBC so many times. Nothing has happened. But what is interesting is that Salim, because where you have reached, we must say the truth. Salim, who is the returning officer for Malava constituency, told me point that there is...
Now, today being the 27th November 2025 is a date that IEBC had set for the by-elections, several by-elections in Kenya, but then there is a specific by-election in Malava. Now, this by-election of Malava is one that has caught the attention of Farouk Kibet, caught the attention of many people. The government would want to do anything possible to make sure that they retain that seat. But DAP Kenya fielded a candidate who seems to be the front runner in this by-election. So talking about the front runner, this is none other than Seth Pako. And Seth Pako has surfaced with grave claims about attack on his family, attack on his team. Now, before we get started on this, let me first of all share this video.
This is not about Nabina Wera. It's not about Farouk Kibet. It's not about Levondo. You know, when the dog barks, you go for the owner. The owner of these dogs is William Ruto. If you go to that hotel and see the damage that has been caused, you can't believe that we are in a civilized country. So it became apparent that 8 Land Cruisers were out, they're called cruisers, Bradleys were outside my premise at that time. So when they failed to enter and Levondo was retreating, it appeared that my security knew those people, and some of them were asking those criminals, what are you doing here? Why can't you come back? So they retreated. And when they retreated, I got an intelligent information that Nabina Wera had recruited and Rashid Echesa had brought, they were going to bring in some goods from Kisumu, in hundreds of them. So I was informed and I was told to leave. At that time, the only means that was available for me to escape was on a motorbike.
Now, from that video, ladies and gentlemen, a name has been mentioned. And this is not a new name to you. The name Stephen Levondo. Levondo has been someone in the public domain for quite some time. I remember the first time I heard about Stanley Levondo was way back in 2007. Back then, Raila Amolo Odinga was vying for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. And according to the old constitution, you had to become a member of parliament first. You could not be declared a president without being a member of parliament. So the first strategy that the government deployed was to unseat Raila Amolo Odinga in Langata. First, back then it was still Langata, but these days it has been separated. After the new constitution, it was separated. There was Kibra and then there's Langata, but back then it was just one, Langata. So Raila Amolo Odinga was the one who used to be the member of parliament there. So the strategy by the government of the day, back then, the Mwai Kibaki government, was that Levondo was to unseat Raila Amolo Odinga in that constituency. Now, during the campaign of those days, there was also talk of gunshots. You remember the story by Levondo about him dodging a bullet. That is what happened back then. Now, Eugene Wamalwa, who is the party leader of DAPK, a party that has fielded Seth Pako, and Seth Pako being the person who was attacked at night by people he believes could have been sent by Levondo. Because according to Panyako, Levondo himself was there. He had come with a vehicle that had a fake number plate. A number plate that was not displayed correctly. And then according to Seth Pako, he says that Levondo wanted him to come out. So the big question is, why at the middle of the night? Does it mean that if at all this story is true, that that Levondo wanted to bribe Seth Pako to declare that he's not a candidate anymore? Was that the case? Why was he going there at night? And why did it emerge that the driver of Seth Pako was stabbed? Because we are told that the driver was stabbed. We are also told that there are a couple of other members of Seth Pako's team who had to flee. So the big question is, why was that the case? There's also a mention of Nabina Bwera. You know, there are a couple of names which Seth Pako has actually mentioned there. Then, if you look at the statement that has been delivered by Eugene Wamalwa, who is the party leader of DAP Kenya, he talks about disqualification of the other opponent of that is Ndakwa. Ndakwa, who is actually also vying to become the Malava member of parliament. And Ndakwa is a government candidate. That's the main reason why people like Farouk Kibet, Kithure Kindiki, Musalia Mudavadi have been campaigning for him. He is a government candidate. So here is an opposition candidate against the government candidate. If Seth Pako wins that position, it's going to become an embarrassment to UDA. So UDA is supposed to retain that seat at all costs. That is exactly what is coming out. They must retain the post at all costs. So is that going to happen? We have seen what is happening. We have seen the polls that have been released, and Seth Pako seems to be taking the lead with, at least according to him, about 70-something percent. So that means if that is correct, then there's no way Ndakwa is going to beat Panyako unless rigging takes place there. But we don't know what's going to happen, whether rigging is going to take place or not. But we have seen opposition talk about rigging. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this story concerning what happened to Seth Pako? And a name has been shared, and the name is Levondo, Stanley Levondo. Just tell us below in the comment section what you think about this developing story. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Till you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.